back to the channel. Today we are talking about the Toki bird. Tocotoco, I guess maybe is how you'd pronounce it. Tocotoco. I call it Toki. Nonetheless, we're talking about this magnificent beast. Very much requested and very much anticipated as far as the Is It Worth It series that we've been doing here. As it reads, when activated, equips to player and transforms into an egg launcher. Not only that, but one thing that I was fairly curious about was the megaton explosion. And we have tested this with Celestial Emperor just to see if it was doing more damage. Fortunately, it does not. It's kind of like the Pinglet, where even though it's producing the projectile, it's not neutral damage, unfortunately. It's a grenade. And I thought that would work, but through testing, as we'll show here, that did not. So we have been testing these two Toki birds back and forth for like 30 minutes. And I honestly cannot see a difference in damage. If Celestial Emperor was doing the 20% increase to neutral attack and the explosives from the eggs were considered to be that neutral attack, then we would see a vast difference in numbers. But they're so close together that it's hard to actually say definitively that it benefits it. I have this one that does not, or that does have Celestial Emperor at 860, and I have this one at 863, which does not have Celestial Emperor. It has Lucky on it. And even when I'm going to test the first one with Celestial Emperor, we will keep it the same range and I'll aim in the same spot, but we're ranging between 4.5 to like 5.3 I've seen at the highest. So 5,300 and something. And if we do the one that doesn't have Celestial Emperor, it's almost identical. 5.2, 5.7, 5.0, 4.6, 5.2, 5.3. And that's the one without Celestial Emperor. So from what I can tell here, that Celestial Emperor does not actually benefit the Toki bird as far as its damage goes. You're better off putting Lucky on it versus putting Celestial Emperor. So Toki is a neutral pal. Tocotoco, however you want to say it. I call it Toki. Since he is a neutral, we'll buff him with rib bunnies as well. We'll have our flyer. One thing that we are going to do as to kind of simulate when the patch does go through, or whenever the patch does come through for fixing the dropping and resetting the pal ball, we're going to use up their main attack and then send them out and hit them with a megaton explosion. See how much damage we can actually produce with that. But as of right now, we're doing 980 attack power. Pretty good. We're boosting with 3 rib bunnies. Now we're doing 1298. Let's put some souls in them. All right, so we did put defensive, health, and attack into his souls. I accidentally put 2 into work. That's why we're at 32. Now we're sitting at 1688 with a 624 defense and 3,736 health. Now the final part of this is to give him some food. All right, he is still level 49, so we still got one more level to put into him, but we're at attack power now at 2,025, which is really good. And since neutral doesn't really have any enemies that it's strong against, it is weak to dark. We probably won't test it against dark. We're going to test it against a couple of bosses, and we did already upgrade them to the full effect of a level 5 partner skill 4-star. So I guess first and foremost, probably go test them against Blazemut. All right, we got Blazemut here. Hop out the Toki. We're not even gonna need to use megaton on them. Jesus. We still have 1, 2, 3 more eggs. Wow. Okay, that's pretty impressive. Those explosions do some killer damage. He wiped Blazemut off the face of the earth with that. Now we need to do something a little bit more difficult. See what old Toki does against Frostallion. All right, we got Frostallion here. I'll drag her over, and then we'll throw out the Toki. Kind of hard to aim. All right, Toki. Oh, That was a full sacrifice. Did catch him on fire though. So at that point, even with a large amount of defense that we put into him, and with legend being a 20% increase to said defense, apparently sleeping also heals him as well. But shout out to the 4 or 5 of you, can't remember everybody's name, but you guys know who you are, that told me about the viewing cage little trick. Thought that I would mention that. We did hit level 50 and we're at 2055. So the megaton didn't do as much as I really wanted it to. We'll go retest that though. So it doesn't quite stun her, but it does hop her up. The burn damage is actually pretty high, doing like 76 on the tick, and it keeps her burnt as well. So we did basically 3k damage that way, knocked her a quarter health, which is pretty good for a starting bit. Like you could use that with those rib bunnies and then have whatever your cleanup crew is save you a couple rockets. We're actually going to try a little something here. All right, so what we're going to do is actually attack with the egg launcher first, and then throw out the Tocotoco bird, let him hit her with seed mine, and then do the megaton explosion and see how much more damage we'll be doing with that. Whoop. Why didn't he do seed mine? Seed mine first. Do seed mine first. There we go. I'm on Megatoner. Wonder if it's on cooldown or something. Oh, if it's on cooldown, then it's gonna be a while. She don't want to get wrapped up now. Oh, there goes Megaton anyway. Nope, not gonna let that happen. It did 2 seed mines. Come on, Megatoner. There it is. Oh, her seed wrap. The seed wrap didn't stay long enough. Go heal him back up. Seed minder. There we go. I'll tell you one thing. I hit her while she was still wrapped in vines, so that does not increase the damage, so it's not a fire damage. So the egg launcher hits pretty hard. Megaton, however, not really hitting that hard. A little disappointed with that. There we go. Seed mine, now Megatoner. Well, that wasn't Megaton now, was it? There it is. What? There she is. Megatoner. It did do about the same damage. Did burn her to death though. Do have one more test that I want to do. Let's just see if we can megaton blaze them up. Did not even have to use the egg launcher. Let's see if we can just nuke them. No, not quite. A little over half health. That's really good damage. So in conclusion, is Blazemut, is the Tocotoco or Tocotoco bird worth it? I would say yes. The egg launcher does a significant amount of damage. It doesn't quite stun them, but it does throw them up into the air to throw off their attacks a little bit. There is that. Now imagine with Celestial Emperor, if you're running the Megaton specifically, since it is a neutral attack, that would be better if you're running running just the Megaton to put Celestial Emperor on. But if you're running the egg launcher as well, then you might want to run Lucky. It just really depends on how you're trying to run him. You can get this guy pretty early on, if not through raids where they'll come through. They're a little bit harder to get, but you could definitely go over to the tiny desert over here and get some lower level ones back over where Anubis is. But yeah, if you wanted to breed one up, I did Lucky on mine for the egg launcher specifically, but with Celestial Emperor, then that megaton explosion is going to be doing a lot more damage. So now that we're done with all of the weapon wielding pals, we will be moving on to healing pals. Now, I didn't test Jet Dragon, but in my opinion, this might ruffle some feathers. As far as overall combat ability riding on him, he's worth it for the juggling aspect, but with the overall damage that he does with the rocket launcher is going to be less than it would be with a Relaxosaurus or the Relaxosaurus Lux, because you can stack behind the Relaxosaurus and put extra damage behind him. Since there is no specific dragon boosting pals, then it kind of makes them null and void. They're really good for riding pals and stuff. As far as traveling and everything, it's the fastest thing in the game, hands down. And if you want to breed one, then I would suggest, probably if you were trying to minimize the amount of time, I would suggest going for a speed build, because fighting builds are like hit and miss. If you really wanted to use them as a fighter, then I would suggest just trying to capture one of the bosses, because their health pool is a lot larger than anything that you could breed from them. But we will be doing a summary on the weapon wielding pals, talking about all of them that we've used so far, and then we'll be moving then we will be moving on to healing pals. And after a bunch of requests, I'm going to be running Felbat first. It won't be the next video, but it will be the video after that. We'll be testing Felbat to see if she's worth it. And then we'll do so on and so forth with Lylene Noct, Lavander, whatever her name is. I'm not even gonna try. And then also the T-Fan. So that's the next set of pals that we're gonna be testing, healing pals. Other than that, if you like my content, then drop a sub. If you guys like the video, drop a like, write a comment down below on what you think about the Tocotoco bird. And then we'll see you guys on the next one. Keep it willy washed. Peace out.